In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to build your greatest future, not just for yourself, but for those around you. And we're going to be talking about how to lay that foundation that will stand the test of time for your best future. Let's get into it. Welcome into the Bears and Lions podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Vaught, and this is the podcast where we challenge our present by viewing our past, because I firmly believe that our greatest future lies within the correct view of our past. So we've all been through things. We all have a past, right? We all know that there are some dark things in our past. There's probably some hurt. There's probably some pain. There's things that we might not have even dealt with yet, but we're going to. And this is a conversation where we can go through some of that to just help us see how far we've actually come. Where we are today was once a dream that we couldn't even imagine of getting to. And now we're in that same position, dreaming of new dreams. And I want to make sure that we view it correctly, step with intention in our present, and step into our future because we are ready. And not just to segue right into it, but today we're going to be talking about how to build your future and things that I've learned over the years, things that I've put into practice that are definitely working, other things that I have picked up from people who are way smarter than me. We'll be talking about all these things, and lately I've been really thinking about this. I have a planner and I have a couple journals here. We'll actually talk about those journals in a little bit, but I've been journaling a lot more lately in preparation for what I really want to do. So to lay out this conversation, we're going to talk about three different things, and one, I have lessons from a story, a childhood story that all of us have heard before. Also talking about reflecting, and the way that you do it. Sometimes we'll reflect on the past and we'll immediately be drawn to embarrassing moments or stories that stuck with us over the years, where it's like, wow, I can't believe I did this, or I can't believe I did that. So we're going to be talking about how reflection is the key. And then also we're going to be talking about the future and how to plan for that, what that looks like, as far as, okay, so we understand in the past we've done this, in the present we're doing this, but what about our future and how we plan that out? And sometimes it's not as simple as just saying, yeah, well, when I get to that point, we're just going to do, this, and this now, and then that will happen. Because as I've learned over the years, you can plan, you can prepare, and you can do a bunch of things. And sometimes the future has different things in store for you, and you just never see yourself where you are. But that's why it's important to reflect on it to build that future, and that's something that I've been doing. So the first lesson that I want to talk to you guys about is the story of the three little pigs. And I'm sure you've heard this story growing up. Your parents probably told you it. The big bad wolf comes and says, I'm going to huff and I'm going to puff and I'm going to blow your house down. But here's the gist of the story. One pig, of course, builds his house out of straw, another out of sticks, and then another out of brick. And the wolf comes and blows the straw down, blows the sticks down. The pigs go to the brick. The wolf can't blow the brick house down, right? So that's the story. It's very simple story. But here are the lessons from the three little pigs. Is if your future was a house, what are you building it out of? Because I think a lot of us, including myself, went through multiple years of my life where I was just existing, building with scraps of whatever I could find, and oftentimes it wasn't anything, and I knew it wasn't very sturdy, but I was just building my future on straw and sticks. I was building my future on the things that would not last the tests of time. And I really mean it. I would take my paycheck, spend it on myself, on food and entertainment, and I would not put anything aside for the future. Or I would put very little aside into savings. I wasn't thinking intentionally about what I wanted to do with my future. And so my question to you is, if your future was a house in the Three Little Pigs, are you building your future out of straw just because it's in abundance and it's something that you can find a lot of? And I'll put it this way. Are you building your future by simply existing? Just going throughout your day, working a same job, setting aside a minimum amount into savings with not really a direction of where you think you're going to go. You're just kind of existing and experiencing things at the moment. Now, that's not a bad thing, but when the wolves of this world come around and huff and puff, that is going to throw a big wrench, and you're going to go through some hardships because your whole world will turn upside down. And it's happened to me a few times in my life where I put so much effort into putting together just this shack, essentially, of what my life was. And that quickly got turned upside down, and it changed my life. And I had to really reevaluate. And that's over the last few years, especially after COVID, I had to reevaluate what I actually wanted to do and how I intentionally would put effort. So instead of being one of the pigs that builds your future out of straw and sticks, I very much want to challenge you to focus on what is sturdy. What foundation are you building? And are you steadily laying the bricks? Are you putting layers every single day? And yeah, it may start really slow. And the saying, of course, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it's are you consistently putting layers of that brick down to set that foundation and build that house and build that future? Because I think that is one of the biggest things, is making choices today that impact tomorrow. Not with the sense of tomorrow I'm going to have this incredible future, but just knowing that whether it's tomorrow or years down the road, I'm going to keep building this foundation so that eventually I'll look up and say, oh, the house is done. It just is done. Like, this is awesome. And there will be a day where we'll be able to do that. Second point of today's conversation is reflection. And I truly believe that reflection is key. And I mentioned it before. You often will think of a moment in your past. And I guarantee most of us will think of a few things. We'll think of really joyful times that were very impactful, or moments that were really impactful, or even people that we're really close to. So friendships, relationships, family members that we absolutely adored and just spent time with. Or we're going to go to embarrassing moments or mistakes or things that we regret and things that we experience. And I do think that it is healthy to regret with intention. I don't think it's not one of those things you should never regret. No. I think it is healthy to regret things, because that shows a remorse that allows you to recognize wisdom. If you made a really poor decision, it is not a bad thing to regret that. It is a good thing, because it shows I regret making that decision because I see that it was a selfish decision. I see that it was a bad decision to make. So I do think that regret can be done well. You just need to do it with intention, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself with the emotions of you're so bad and I regret everything that I ever did. No. But with intention, if you look at certain decisions that you've made, man, it's not saying I'm going to change who I was, or saying, well, if I didn't go through that, then I wouldn't be who I am. Of course. We can't change our past. But I think regret allows us to say, I need to learn from that. I made a mistake and I need to learn from that. So reflection is key in this, because if you are just walking through life and having these moments of, wow, I could have done something different, I could have done something better, but you're not actually changing, then you are creating a future where you're just going to continue in that cycle. And it could be years before you wake up and realize, I've been in a cycle. And this is why all of the relationships are the same in my life. The jobs I've been working are the same in my life. The relationships, friendships, the stuff that I do just on the daily, it's just the same. And you get to this point, and that's why reflection is really key. Because when you reflect well, you're able to say, no, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, and I did this right. Therefore, I want to make sure that I make wise decisions today, and I try not to do something like this where I did it wrong. I'm going to try to do it better today. And that creates the future where eventually you look back and say, yeah, here are a few other mistakes I made, but here's the other 3, 4, 5 things that I did well, and you build on those things that you do well. So the question is, if you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself 2 years ago? What would you tell yourself 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago? And I think it's important to ask yourself this question because it allows you to reflect and simply say, I wish I knew what I know now, right? When I was younger. The song, of course, comes to mind. It's I wish I could go back and tell myself. And me, I've actually journaled some of this down, and I wish that I could go back 2 years and say, please write down your thoughts. Please write down your thoughts, because over the last 2 years, I've had some of the most profound thoughts I've ever had in my life. And because I was so consumed with myself and I was so consumed with the entertainment and the life that I was living, I did not write the ideas I had down, and I did not write the creativity. And it doesn't change my past or future or anything. It's not me going back and saying, hey, you need to invest in Apple. No, it's of course, I wish I could tell myself to do that, but it's literally, I really wish I'd just written those things down and had a copy so I could show myself how far I've come. So I could show myself that I have been creative. I know I've been creative all throughout this process, but I wish I had some of those things written down so I could go back and review them. And really, I think it would be great to be able to talk about them, because I know just in my mind, I could remember some of them being very profound and impactful, but I don't have them written down. So it's kind of one of those things where I remember it, but I don't. So there's no way to really go back through. So that's what I would say. Last thing that I want to talk to you in this conversation today is I call it a letter to tomorrow. And I have 2 journals here, and I've been writing in them more and more lately. But one I write just on the daily of, this is devotions and stuff. I have my Bible there, which I've talked about. But I do devotions and I write down and journal things. But I have one that I specifically write letters to tomorrow. And I've started writing myself letters to a future self. And I don't know when it's not like this is you on January 1st, 2032. No, it's just, dear self, this is what's going on. And I write this letter to myself and tell myself, today I accomplished this. Today I've done this. Today I've sacrificed going out to eat to go to the gym. Today, I decided to let go of this specific relationship or this friendship. Today, I decided I don't need to spend any more time with X. I am focusing on this because I want to build my future for you. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that you see the sacrifices I've made, and I hope this pays off. It's not saying I know this will pay off, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. I'm 34 years old. I never anticipated being where I am right now. COVID hit, things changed. I went to school for sports broadcasting. That didn't pan out. And now it's kind of one of those things where I don't really know where my life was meant to be or go, but I do know what I'm building. What I'm building is I'm making sure that everything I do puts myself in a position for the best future I absolutely can build. So write a letter to yourself, whether you journal or put it in your phone, even if it's like 5 minutes while you're sitting in traffic. Please don't be on your phone while you're driving. Never mind. Forget I said that. If you are like before you drive away from the grocery store, whatever it is, if you're walking around, or maybe you're before you go to the gym, or maybe you're just on the treadmill at the gym, writing down your thoughts, or on the Stairmaster on the gym. This is where some of my thoughts come from. It's write these things down. This is what I'm doing for myself in the future. Dear future self, today I'm building something for you. I hope that it pays off, and I hope that you treat it with respect, and I hope that you treat it well. You would be surprised how many days I wake up and I don't want to do something, and because I've been writing these letters to myself, I don't want to let my future self down. So I will write these letters, and I will go and do them on days I don't want to do anything, because I cannot and I will not let myself down in the future. And the more you put that in your mind, the more it becomes important to you. And I think that as you do this, it's going to change everything about you and build that future. So wrapping things up, I just simply want to tell you that I believe in you. I know that whatever you're going through, whatever you've been through, you've overcome so much. You've come so far. And now it's your turn to simply say, I am no longer going to just exist. I'm going to build the future I want, and I'm going to do it now. And I'm going to do everything I absolutely can in my power today to set myself up for the future. So don't build your house out of straw. Don't build your house out of sticks. Lay the foundation, make it strong, and make sure that every single day you're putting a new layer of brick down, because eventually that house will be complete. Remember to take time to reflect on how far you've come, any of the regrets that you've had. Make sure you're making those wise decisions and learning from your past, not just repeating your past. And maybe write a couple letters or write some mementos to yourself in the future and say, look, today I'm doing this for you. Please treat it with respect. That's going to do it for this conversation today. I certainly hope that you will have a wonderful, wonderful week and a wonderful weekend. Remember to give grace, show love, and stay stellar. Peace.